So I know I've made multiple videos on certain moves and whatnot, but some people be like, well, I just want to use the move. Well, you can still use a cheap move, but you gotta use it legitly if you don't want to fucking cause cancer, alright? Now, any move can be spammed and to a certain extent abused, alright? But here's the thing: like how easy it is to abuse is what makes it like either like cheap or broken. So like Punisher Drive is really easy to exploit, especially before the patch. But if you try to exploit a move like, let's say a move like Ill Flash, all right, it's a pretty balanced move. So you can't necessarily exploit it easily, but you can just sit back and do it. But it's easy to get across, it's easy to get through. But just the fact you can potentially do that, So the thing is, when you're using a cheat move, you gotta be pretty cautious about it, because if you're fighting a random, they'll say you're cheap even if you didn't use the move. If you just use the move once, or you have the move equipped but don't use it at all, they'll still call you cheap just for having it on, even if you didn't abuse it. I know, for example, I have Punisher Drive on one of my presets. Now I don't spam it. Even before the patch, I didn't spam it. All right, I made a video on it. I said the move was cheap because it can be easily abused. It was broken at that time actually, because that was like really fucking. It was just really untouchable. You couldn't be touched in it. Not only the fact is it's very hard to fucking punish, and not the fact that it's very hard to punish that made it cheap. It's just the fact that you can be. It was just ridiculous at that point. All right, but the thing about Punisher Drive, it can be easily abused. And on my preset, I use it to combo. All right, that's the thing. When you're using Punisher Drive to combo and not using it like a fucking evasive, all right, that's completely different, because any move can get comboed. When you use it to combo, it doesn't really do anything special. It doesn't do that much damage. The only thing special it does is like put you behind the opponent. All right, so if you want to call it, all right, I guess that's not really cheap. All right, that's just how the move works. You can combo it with another move that hits behind you, like Backbreaker, Mystic Flash, shit like that. But the thing is, comboing it, nobody should complain. Any move can get comboed. But if you're going to use it like an evasive and just use it every time you have to recover off a frame and know that you can't get hit while you're in it and whatnot, then yeah, that's abusing it. All right. I know for moves like backflip, you can't combo in the backflip in certain scenarios. But if you're using it like an evasive, all right, that's all right. That's all right, as long as you're not doing it too fucking much. Because I have it on a preset, but I use it mainly because I don't want after image and super after image on every one of my damn presets. So on like my square, I have like evasive moves. So I'll have Phantom Fist, after image, super after image, Rebellion Spear, have some shit like that. All right, Flash Fish Crush. But the thing is, when people have backflip, they mainly, most of the time, spam it, and to the point to where it's like, what do you need stamina for? And then as soon as they do it, they fucking press block. All right, when I use backflip, I don't do it like that. Well, I do block, but I don't do it often. I'll maybe use backflip 3 times a game, as opposed to the fucking normal person that had that shit on. They do that shit about 20, 30 times a game. So it's at that point to where it becomes the new Phantom Fist, and it actually affects you for the worst, because at least when you guard it right after a Phantom Fist in Xenoverse 1, you wouldn't take away a bar of your opponent's stamina, because you couldn't block right after the Phantom Fist, and if you did, you had a high risk of getting your guard broken. Let's talk about Dragon Fist. Now, before the patch, before they like when the game first came out, you had to break someone's guard in order to get it, and that guard had to be broken when you hit them with the dragon. Then they made it to where that shit was like fucking unvanishable. So even if they did have stamina, they could not vanish it. Like, they could technically, but online they didn't test it out good enough, and nobody could get it out offline. All right. So the thing is, I'd have Dragon Fist on a preset, but the thing about using Dragon Fist is if you hit somebody and guard break them and then use it, there's nothing wrong with that, because they couldn't evasive out of it anyway. You could have technically hit them with any other move. You could have really hit them with fucking 2 special beam cannons by the time you got that Dragon Fist off, or 2 super Kamehamehas. So you really was trying to spare their ass, to be honest with you. But the thing about it is, when you use it when somebody has stamina, well, that becomes a problem, because it's supposed to work to where they can vanish out. But no, you and they both know that they can't vanish out of it. So instead of being a fucking fair sport, you decide to abuse it, knowing that it's not intended to work like that. And you repeatedly abuse it into where it becomes unvanishable, and it's an annoyance, and then somebody has to do some cheap shit to you, cheap unvanishable shit to you, and then you just fucking get your ass whooped. Another thing that's unvanishable, stamina breaks. Using unvanishable stamina breaks is alright as long as the person has below 2 bars of stamina, because no matter what stamina break you would have hit them with, they'd have still been able to get out of it. So if you have like 0 bars of stamina, I hit you with a unvanishable stamina break, at that point it's not unvanishable, because you wouldn't have a choice to get out the fucking stamina break regardless if I did it that way or I just did the regular way. All right, so at that point there's certain points to where some things are specific in some cases, and those shining slash, using shining slash, there's nothing wrong with that, but using that shit on a knockaway is pretty cancerous, because 9 times out of 10 it's unvanishable because the connection isn't good. If you're fighting an average connection, you can't vanish out of it, and they can constantly kick you away and constantly do it, which means that shit is like hella fucking cheap. It should, honestly, if someone's like being a bitch, like if somebody playing cheap on you, feel free to do whatever they want, because if their mindset is nothing's cheap in the game, then there should be nothing wrong with what you're doing. But if they're playing legit and you're doing that shit, then no, get the fuck out of here. So bottom line is, you can use cheap moves, but it's how you use them that affects on whether people call you cheap or not. You can use Punish Drive, you can use Dragon Fist, you can use all the shit you want. You can use Super Mad Dance, even though it's not cheap, it's just fucking broken, and not broken, it's just very OP. So you can use whatever move you want in the game, but it's depending on how you use it and whether you abuse it or not, which makes people complain or not. So if you want to use any move, you just got to make sure how you use it. If you have a question, leave it in the comment section below. I'll give you some advice on how to use it without people complaining. Well, to keep the complaints minimum, because some people complain about everything in this damn game. But yeah, that's my video for today. Leave a like if you enjoyed, leave a comment, let me know what you thought. If you need some advice on how to use certain moves, if they're cheap or not, if you think they're cheap or not, then let me know, and I'll feel free to answer. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll catch y'all later.